Oh boy. Hey, what's up? What's going on, you guys? Uh Coming at you on a Friday at like 7:29 in New York time and about 8:30 Beijing time. And I promise you the topic which I'm about to speak on, a lot of you guys feel you know already, but like you gotta experience some shit in order to really speak about it. And I feel like, this is a warning to some, and to others, um, don't be misled. And this is why I feel like fathers in the household is needed so much, but it's not possible because at the end of the day, we are just men. We are men, and it's it's something that happens to all of us. All right, we don't see the future. We don't see the future, nor can we see the future, but we do feel the future. We feel and we know what's gonna happen, and we worry about that. But if I was about 20 years younger, I would honestly take back my words to my first kid's mother, because I mean, at the time she is beautiful, but she was just an overwhelming presence, and just the way I thought at the time. Like, I was dumb stupid about her because I don't know. I have a thing about women with glasses. I like, for some reason, I don't know. They look, um, well, some women, I say this not vaguely, but some women are absolutely beautiful with glasses. I don't know what it is, if it's something, but I like to see a woman with glasses for some reason. I don't know. It, it's an attraction for me. But um, at that time, I was just young, and I was thirsty. I'm not gonna lie, I was thirsty than a mother. I was thirsty, and she probably knew it because there were days when I would miss school, and I would just be at her place, just chilling, and trying to cut it up with her, and I did everything, to keep that woman in my hands, and at some point, you know, I mean, it got so good to me that she came over by me, and we were in the midst of we were in the midst of you know doing what the kids our age were doing, and I said, you know what, I want you to have my baby. And from that point, I felt like my life took a turn, not for the better, but for the worse. I say this because it was just me, and I was raising myself by myself, because, like, I had no adult structure in my life. I had no structure was in my life, really, and I was only raised mostly by women, and therefore I took some habits which women would do, and the, the teachings of my mother, and I put them into my use. And I'm gonna say this to other young men out there listening, like, you must be around men, see how men think, and understand the reasons why your father's not around, and understand the reasons why, like, men just can't be around women sometimes. Men need to be around other men at certain times, at certain points in their life, and they need to take wisdom and use it correctly. And I was getting wisdom. Sure, they were talking to me, but I had no actual, physical structure of it. Of course, you can talk to somebody, but to see it is different. I can assure you that people who grew up in a two-parent house are, and probably is better than, not better than me, but, well, not personally me, but like, are well, understand about the dynamics of a relationship between a man and a woman. All right, this is if your parents are still together. If your mother haven't gone off or been astray, or your father haven't gone astray from the marriage which they bonded together and they had. So I fool you not, I shit you not. This is something I wish I knew when I was younger. Um, don't 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 get over your head and think nothing can happen, because you telling this woman, yo, I love you, and at that point when she's either on her stomach or her back or whatever, and it gets good to you, you say this like, yo, oh my gosh, like, I want you to have my baby. I don't care what we go through. I don't care what we face. I don't care. Like, at this point, I don't want to give this feeling to no one else. I don't want nobody else to feel, the insides of you. I don't want no one else to have, that the possession which I have over your body, over you right now. I don't want to share that with nobody. And I'm telling you this, I should have kept my mouth shut. I should have just kept pushing, because there were so many women after her, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like, only a few of them stand out in my mind or in my head right now. I think back and I can only think of, like, one woman that, like, I truly wished, I would have, I myself, I would have gotten this woman pregnant. I think back and I'm like, bro, I don't want to let this woman go. I don't want. I want to keep her. I want her in my life. Like, this is when I became an adult. At that point, I was just stumbling. I was just bumbling around, and I had no real structure. Like I said, I was just going from this thing to that thing. But you know, we would sit down and we would talk. We would discuss, what I'm gonna do and what she plans on doing, and she shared her ideas with me, and it wasn't just me, just, well, I want to do this, and oh, you want to do that, and well, it is what it is, and you run off because she runs off because she has feelings for someone else or something like that. This was something pure, something of innocence, which I felt that, like, I love this woman. Like, I've come to love this woman. I wish I had known at a younger age that I would meet her, but I obviously didn't. And at that time, I was so backed up, not only paying child support, but having to put money in a house which was never mine. And there's this thing with men, well, with males, I should say, that you will go and stay with a woman, and then when she gets mad, you get put out the house. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You get put out the house because you're obviously not on the deed, or you come, you stay with her and her mother, and she feels away, or you might want some cat on the side, and you might linger off because you ask her, yo, babe, like, I want you to be more vocal about the way you talk to me when we're and I like I like you just giving me some top. And she just said no, and I trust me, at that young age, all you think about is your sexual pleasure, your sexual nature. You don't see, like, like, a future with this woman. You're just thinking about her, and you're thinking about using her for her body, and you don't want to share it. That's what comes to mind in my head. But um honestly, like, now that I'm older and I see, like, you know um that whole I want you to have my baby, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I actually said that. And in the time, I was thinking, I don't want to give this up. I want this. But as the future unfolded, I started to see, like, we weren't, well, me and the women which I had kids with weren't the same. We wanted different things in life. We were at different places in our lives. She wanted this and I wanted that. So we didn't stay together. And on top of that, I'm not gonna lie, like, sometimes, and I say this towards women, and I'm sure, like, a woman could say this towards men. There's some things where women want or might need, and they will not be vocal about it to you, or they will not ask you for it, and you're just supposed to assume you understand what they're talking about, and they're never forthcoming with information. you would have to hear it from someone else, or somebody else have to tell you it. Then most of them are never forward or vocal about their interactions or anything they tell you. They will lie their asses off to a certain point. Um, what else? I I really wish my son would take heed from me and try to build himself up before he tried to start a family. Try to understand life, understand it's more about what you want from this life and get yourself structured, But if he chooses to, get in a relationship and he thinks um, he's playing daddy and he's doing all of this, trust me, you are going to lose every time. The United States system and basically anywhere in the world now is not designed to for a man to have his kids, raise his kids in his household. Like I said, people cheat, people like to have sex, people like to go astray. And most of the times it's either men, and understand this, men just want to be fulfilled sexually, but the emotional part, it stays with the woman you love. Women, they like to be they they like to be filled, emotionally, and then sexually it comes. I say that because there's like some women, some women you will ask, yo, like, like I just want my sucked, and then they'll no, and then you have to like you have to like push their head down, and they're like, no, 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 and you're trying to, like, tell, yo, just that's all. I don't want sex. I just want, and just, no, I don't want to. I don't. She's too good for it, and she's okay. All right, cool, boom, and then you find yourself, like I said before, finding somebody that um, is good at that, and then once that's taken care of, you come back home. You like, yo, I got my house. I got my little baby here. I got my son or my daughter with me. I'm good. The house is good. But then for some reason she might find something which leads her to believe that you had relations outside, and all hell breaks loose. Now, like I said before, in the government's eyes, these kids are hers. Um, no matter what, they are hers. You will not bend, or you will not um, be seen in any judge's eyes. And I say this because my son, he came and lived with me. He's like from out of state. He came back into New York. I registered him in school. I got him, took him to the doctor. I took him to, wherever he needed to go. But for some reason, they have his mother's name, sending it to his mother's name. And I'm like, no, I'm his caregiver. I'm his father. Boom. Our last names are the same. Boom, boom. Like, that's my son. Boom. The woman has not lived in this state in over what, 12 years or 10 years. Now at that time it was over like mm, 14 years. She had not lived in this state in 14 years. And I don't know, the government persists to put her name on everything, even though, but that's what the government did. So I saw that it wasn't a chance of me, ever being seen as, just the only parent that's taking care of him. And something which I wish I knew sooner is that no matter what you do, you will never be seen as a female. You will never be seen, not as a female, but you will never be in anyone's eyes other than just a provider to these kids, because a lot of men go and they have kids with a lot of these girls, and in tutus, you might say, look, sis, it's not what I signed up for. Boom, I just wanna thing, and then you're paying child support, And whether you like it or not, you're not seeing the kid, or the kid might not be coming around, or she might want to do her and gonna have other kids, and other be with other men and do what you want, and that's fine. It's full fine and dandy. But then when it comes to your kid now, you gotta play like, well, I want to see the kid, but I'm not able to see the kid because this and because of that, and all of these. It just looks bad in the judge's eyes, because once you have this kid, you have to provide them with a home. Make sure they're in school. Make sure they're cared for. Make sure they want or need for nothing. And still, you'll get the short end of the stick if push comes to shove, and she says you're not doing this and you're not doing that. The judge will come after you. So I want you guys to know, like, no matter what you say, right? In that moment of lust, of, like, this might be some of the best cat you've ever had in your life, or you in the moment, do not make the mistake of busting that inside of that young girl. Keep that shit, save that shit for later, because everything changes once a kid comes into play. Everything changes. You're not the same sweet, you're not dealing with the same sweet little girl or woman that you met. This is somebody that sees either financial gain in this, or just dislikes you, or just hates you, or however she feels. Shout outs, really, I have to say a shout outs to my son's mother, because despite everything, I can call this woman up and I can have a sweet, simple conversation about our son, or I can ask her just about anything I need to know, and she will discuss it with me. I don't have any hard feelings. Um, I respect the fact that life handed me lemons, and I made the lemonade the best I can with her, but it wasn't sweet enough for her, so she did her. And I respect that to the end of this earth. But I'm telling you guys, please be careful who you have kids with. Make sure, you're smart about it. And please do not, do not, do not have a kid with a woman unless you know her for at least 4 or 5 years. Because I don't know how they do it, but they do it well. When you find out, the shit is just off the wall. But a woman will be with you for that same amount of time and have another man in another country or in another place that she's pulling with her, that she loves. She definitely loves. So just be cautious. And this is all from my own experience, and I'm trying to share it with you. So that's really all I wanted to say. And I mean, there's more that I want to say, but I don't want to hold you up that long. Please understand. Be as cautious with your seed as you can be, because it's not always what you see is not always what you see. All right, just so you know. So I'll hear you guys later. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll talk to you guys soon. And please, don't ever get fooled in the cat, because it's good, it's wet, it's warm, it's a place to be right now, and it's really, it's really pleasing to you. Don't ever say that to a woman. I want you to have my baby, and we be good. You know what I mean? I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay, like I said, I'll see you guys soon. All right, later.